All right, we're recording this. Don't say anything crazy on here, okay? All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Just want to be mindful of everybody's time. Uh, First of all, happy Monday. Welcome. Excited to have you all here. We're just going to run through a little bit in detail, a little bit. And thank you all to those who attended our event last week. It was really great. I learned some stuff, and I know we got some really good feedback from that. So, um, really easy conversation we're going to have today. Basically, I'm going to run through the business hospital, our partnership, what that looks like. We're going to talk a little bit about what the business hospital, what that looks like with them. And then we are going to talk through the application process. And then if you guys have any questions, we can go from there. Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, so just a little bit of backstory on the chamber, and that's just so that we're all kind of baseline. We are celebrating our 80th anniversary this year, and have obviously been, a huge focus of ours is making sure that we're supporting a thriving ecosystem, specifically in the small business and entrepreneurship space. It's something we've always done. About 80% of our membership are under 10 full-time employees. So historically, we have had programming to support our small business and entrepreneurs. So we have in 2021, I believe, created a small business and ecosystem strategy. So that's how do we build out a pipeline or an ecosystem to support businesses no matter where you're at. If you're thinking of starting a business, you're already in operation, you're growing and scaling, whatever your goals are. So, and that changes and evolves over time, right? So, making sure that we're continuing to provide relevant information. Sorry, I've got a couple more dropping in here. Just making sure that we have a pulse on the business community and the needs, and that we're speaking and leaning into that. So, one part of this strategy that we had was to bring in a full-time person to focus solely on small business and entrepreneurship. So, we have had that person in place for the past 18 months. She actually just left us to take on a new role. So, we're in a bit of interim space. You get me.
Like this week. In the
Huh?
background.
Did you have a question?
No, I'm sorry. I
Oh,
was
all good,
just
all good.
no.
So one of the programs and partnerships that we have created over the past 18 months is a partnership with an organization called the Business Hospital. If you attended the session, the business clinic last week, it is literally a hospital for businesses in all facets. So the terminology they use, the way they treat patients, they've even got me talking the language. So we entered into a partnership with Dr. Baker and his team from the Business Hospital about August of 2020. Yeah, come on in. Sorry, Deborah from our team is popping in to come listen. So so we started a partnership with the Business Hospital late summer last year. It's a two-pronged partnership. One of the things that we are doing is the chamber, and I'll talk through kind of the logistics of it, is we are co-funding 10 businesses to go through the as a patient of the business hospital. And I'll talk about what that looks like. So that's part one. We currently have 5 businesses that are in different phases of treatment with the business hospital. We did 5 that we kind of hand selected to make sure that we had a representation of our ecosystem. Right now we have, I always forget one too, so I apologize. We have a franchise, we have a startup, we have a tech company, we have a professional services organization, and again, there's the 5th one. I can't remember what they do. So they have all been working in different and all have different focuses. Have been working with Dr. Baker and his team, starting as early as last like fall, and some as early as like within the last month. So we have those 5 locked in, but what we want to do is we want to open it up to our business community to fill those last 5 spots. So we'll talk about what that application and that process looks like. So that's bucket one of what we're working with the business hospital on. The other part is what many of you attended last week, and that is a business clinic. So these are free and open to any business in Douglas or organization. We're doing 2 of those throughout the year, and then they have kind of a high level focus that can be applicable to any business. So this last one was all around all things generating revenue, right? And if you were there, you know, he literally gave amazing content. If you weren't there, drop it in the chat. I can send you his slide presentation on all the different things you need to consider when generating revenue and what that can look like for your company. We will be doing a second business clinic, again, free and open to everybody, in May. I believe it's May the 19th. I'll make sure and send that date out. And then that will also have a focus. So those are 2 free opportunities for you. And then we'll probably end up doing another one later in the year. So anyway, so we have those 2 buckets of the ways that the business hospital is engaging with the chamber. We have other programs and resources on a monthly basis for businesses to engage. We do monthly roundtables. We do some in person. We have a virtual nonprofit roundtable, as well as we facilitate our small business success series, which are monthly trainings on different topics for businesses. There are, depending on your membership level, there's either a small fee or they're included in your membership for those. So there are several other things we're working through right now. We are in our 3-year strategic planning process. And from that, which we'll be wrapping that up mid-month February, there will be even more things that we're doing to enhance that ecosystem. So I wanted to just give you guys kind of a lay of the land on all the things that are going on. But just so you know, there's several different ways that you can engage. This is just one of those. Happy to talk offline with you about those other pieces of things. So let's focus on, and the primary focus of our conversation today is around, applying to be a patient with the business hospital. So just high level, I've got a couple of different flyers or slides that Dr. Baker shared with me to just talk through. And then, like I said, we'll talk through the application process. So the business hospital is sorry, people are still dropping in. And I'm recording this, so if you got here a little late, we'll send the recording out on the back end. And also drop your name and your company in the chat. So they offer business treatment. Again, think of it as just as like if you were to go to a hospital. And the framework for how it is funded is also just like if you were at a hospital. So you, as I mentioned, like the chamber is co-funding part of this. So think of the chamber as your insurance agency when you go to the doctor, and then your business would be responsible for a copay. That copay, it gets you 1 year of, from whenever you start, 1 year of work with Dr. Baker and his team. You will receive your treatment, like it says, until you meet your deductible max, and then you can pay out of pocket after that. So this partnership is for 1 year that the chamber will co-fund for you. So there's several different things that you can do as far as treatment plans and areas of focus. So general business health, they do this great thing. It's called the Business Health Index, and it's almost an assessment. Think of it like if you go to the doctor for a checkup, you're going to go through this Business Health Index, and I believe it's like 27 or 30 different areas of business health that they have done a lot of research. This is a global company on how they can truly gauge your business health. So you will go through kind of a health assessment at the very beginning, and that will give you, I'm going to call it like your health score, right? So you'll know based on all these areas, and it's things like your financials and marketing, all different areas like, operations, how are you running your company? And it'll give you a health score. You'll also determine, kind of areas of opportunities where you need treatment, right? And that falls into several different buckets. And you can see there's some here. I'm not going to read through all of these because it's different for everyone. But areas like general business health, financial health, legal health, technology health, marketing health, sales health, those will all be assessed. And then depending on where your business health falls and what your needs are determines where you fall within the areas that you'll need support on. So perfect example, if your legal health is a little low, then it might be things like if you're just thinking of starting a business, it could be that, they're assisting you with getting your intellectual property locked in, getting trademarks created. It could be establishing your articles of incorporation. That's something that you have to do very early on the front end. If you don't know how to do that, they can help you do that. And it's all included in this cost. Again, go to a different side. You could look at the financial health, the value of your business. Like, do you know what that is? Is it accurate? Is it relevant? So they'll go through and assess your business health. And then you guys will come up with a treatment plan of how you increase that business health. And again, it looks different for everybody. I've seen kind of the health charts for our 5 that are going through, and you have some that are looking to grow and scale their company. We have one that is, trying to figure out what his primary product, if you were at the business clinic last week, what is your unique product selling item, your UPS? What is the thing that is your bread and butter, not 10 things that you do? What is the one area you can focus on? So throughout that, so they'll go through the business health assessment process, and then from there, your treatment plan will look different for everybody. And then his team, which he has a very extensive team, and that is some of that would be virtual, some of that would be in person, depending on the partnership. Some of those would be local resources that we would be connecting you with, or his team would, and some of them might be virtual. But what their goal is to provide you with the truest subject matter experts in the region, in the world, I guess you could say. And it is 24/7, like, support, right? I mean, literally, I don't think I go 20 minutes without a response from him or his team whenever we need something. So that's kind of the treatment plan. And again, after that, it really just is up to you as far as what that looks like. So the core competencies, like I said, business technology remedies, human capital treatment. So that's like managing a team of people, sales growth, financial health, startup solutions, structural and operational. You can see some of the clients that they've worked with, and partnerships that they've had. So that's kind of high level what it is. They're a 2-part organization. And they're a nonprofit. So they have the Business Hospital Institute, which is the part that we would focus working on. And then obviously they have that. So it's preventative business care, and again, business remedy and triage. So depending on where you're at, it looks different for everybody. So does anybody have any questions about the business hospital in general before we go into kind of the application process? And I can send this all to y'all too, by the way, afterwards. Okay. Well, I'm very proud. That was the part that was going to be a little bit harder for me because I'm not Dr. Baker, and he does an amazing job at talking about the business hospital. So I hope I did him proud. All right. So let's talk through this application process. If you're jumping on a few minutes behind, I'm recording this, but just so you know, we currently have 5 patients that are in process with the business hospital, and we're looking to fill those 5 final spots. So the application will go live, I'm hoping this afternoon, and then it'll go through the middle of February. It is not a first come, first serve basis. You will complete the application, and then we will have a group that will do a very light, don't get scared, very light interview process. So if there are questions about your application, if we feel we need a little clarity to make sure and ensure that it's going to be a good fit, we will do that. Again, it will be virtual. It will be painless. It's more just a detailed understanding of who you are. So you'll complete the application, which we'll talk through. We will have a selection process, and then you'll be notified that you're being that you have or have not been selected for the business hospital. That doesn't mean that you can't go on your own and work with the business hospital if you don't get selected, as we only have those 5 spots. It also doesn't mean that you couldn't be considered for our next cohort of those that will go through probably in like the later part of this year. And in looking at the application process, as you go through it, it might be that you realize it's not the right time for you to do this. And that's where you can lean in on some of those business clinics and the trainings that we have. So once you are accepted into the program, you will work with Dr. Baker on his team of getting your copay facilitated, and then the work will start with the business health index. So it'll be a pretty quick application and selection process. Again, we are only taking 5 right now. And just as a reminder, it's not first come, first serve. This application, I'm going to give you a heads up. It is a bit thorough, but that is because, one, we want to make sure that we have all of the information, that Dr. Baker and his team have all the information to ensure that this is a good fit and that the timing is relevant for you and your organization to go through this. It also is long, we want to make sure this is a commitment, right? And again, there's a financial obligation to it, but also we want to ensure that the people that the chamber that we're funding to go through this are taking it seriously. This is not something where I will tell you, because we had one that we were thinking it was going to be a good fit, and they kind of weren't aware of like the actual commitment to that. And so they decided they weren't going to do it. So we just want to make sure that you guys are giving us all the information. So can everybody see my screen?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll send out this link afterwards, once we get it updated. We've got like one or two things that we're asking. So the first part is kind of your company, basic company information, company name, principal, owner, title, business, all your contact information, website, when you were established, your current years under current ownership. If you're not, if you're just still thinking about starting, you can put a 0 there. That's okay. Your EIN number, if you physically have a space, or if you're home-based or virtual, number of full-time employees. We are going to ask for the number of part-time employees. We are asking, and again, this information is completely confidential. It literally stays with myself, Dr. Baker, and like 3 people on our selection committee. So they all sign confidentiality agreements. So your information will not be broadcast to the world. Let me also state that. You'll put in your annual revenue, and you can use that if you want to do like over the past 2 years, your average, that's completely fine. Your products and services that you provide, the business type of business, if it's not listed here, you can add that in there. What kind of financial documents you're preparing annually, your mission, what's your flagship product or service? That was what we talked about last week with Dr. Baker and the business clinic, is what is your primary product or service? What's the competitive advantage behind this? Who are your competitors? Are there alternatives to your product or service? Why is your product superior than others? And then we get into kind of like where, this is not the true health assessment, but giving us a pulse on like where are your obstacles, right? What are the top 3 challenges you're facing right now? What are the greatest risks associated with your business? What's your biggest growth opportunity? Why do you want treatment from the business hospital? Spell it out for us. Let us know. And then any specific goals. This has where you can select your areas of need. So you can tell us, you could put all of them. You could put that you really just need it in one area, or you could say, look, I really need it in all of these. We are asking that you provide a few support materials, your state registration or articles of incorporation, like whichever one you have. Business license is optional. You don't have to, because technically you don't really have to have one. It's more of the state-led registration that you need to have. But if you want to drop it in there, we'll take it. You aren't going to get penalized if you don't have one, or don't include it. And then what we would like are 3 testimonials from your clients, customers, or vendors. So we want to get a pulse on your relationships that you already have with everyone. And then we do ask if you are a chamber investor. That is a requirement of it, and I'll talk about that in a second. And if you've previously received any business assistance, and if so, what is that? So we used to run a business sustainability program here. Have you worked with the Small Business Development Center? Have you worked with Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council? Like, how have you gotten any business assistance in the past? Again, no right or wrong answer there. We are also going to add a question on here if you have any certifications. If you're a women-owned small business, a DBE, if you're a veteran-owned business, like any certifications you have, again, it's not a pass or a fail, and that makes you better than anybody. It's just us having a general understanding of what kind of support you've had. So that's kind of high level, the application. And all you do is you can upload your documents with those testimonials. You can just put them all in one PDF. And then you submit your application, and then it comes to us for evaluation. So does anybody have any questions about the actual application itself? Sweet. I'm just 2 for 2 here, y'all. Getting excited. Okay, so criteria to apply. The only criteria that we have for this program is that to apply, you can be a for-profit, you can be a nonprofit, you can have, while we say this is for small businesses, the world is your oyster. You can have 40 people. You can be your own employee. You can have no employees and just have an idea. So there's no requirements there. What we are asking is that anybody that will be going through this program is a chamber investor. So if you aren't familiar with the chamber, we have two different kinds of membership options, if you will. We have our no cost introductory membership option. So there is a free no cost membership option to be a part of the chamber. It's very basic, it's very minimal. You basically are a la carte on anything that you do. You pay more to attend our events. If you want to post jobs, there's a separate fee for that, but it is very basic. It's like your business listing in the directory. You get our emails and you get some fun little stickers in the mail. If you are an introductory member, you are not eligible to apply for this. You have to be an investor. And with the investor, we have 3 different kind of traditional membership packages. It doesn't matter which one you are a part of. We have our access membership, which is $400, basically gives you kind of like an elevated, take our introductory one and add to it. You get special discounted pricing. You get an enhanced listing on our business directory, several other things. That one is $400 for the year. And then the next one up is our visibility membership. I call it, it's more of our enhanced marketing focused one. So if you're looking to post jobs on our website, if you're looking to hold a ribbon cutting or a member milestone, if you would like to have access to our physical space here at the chamber, it's those kind of things. If you're looking at insurance, if you need health insurance for you and your employers, you can get that. So it's kind of a little bit more of an elevated. It is $600 for that annual membership. We also have a strategic membership, which is $1,200. I'm going to save y'all from that conversation. If you're interested in that one, it's more for medium to large size companies and includes things that are like workforce talent, strategy support, business consultation here with our team to figure out how you can invest your marketing dollars. We send RFPs out to those businesses when we get them from the city and the county, if it makes sense. So it's kind of a little bit more, again, traditionally medium to large size businesses. So, but all of that to say, to be considered for those programs, you have to be either a $400 access investor, $600 visibility member, or higher. That is the only requirement for this program. But the great news is, if you do that, then you get all the benefits of being a part of the chamber. And that was a really large conversation with the business hospital, and Dr. Baker and his team is making sure that we have that kind of localized, boots on the ground opportunity for you to engage with our organization and with the chamber, as well as with the business hospital, because they go hand in hand. So that is literally the only requirement. The cost, so let's say all of the stars align, you're a chamber investor, you fill out your application, you do your interview, you get selected to be one of our patients with the business hospital. What happens next? The fee to work with Dr. Baker and his team, your copay, is $2,000 for the entire year. That is a significantly subsidized cost for what you will be getting. I will honestly say our chamber side is probably almost 2/3 of that copay, just like an insurance company. So we are investing in these 5 businesses, and then they would be investing in themselves through Dr. Baker. So it's $2,000 again from the day you start for 365 days. That would be all you would be paying into working with the business hospital. So that doesn't mean that there couldn't be additional costs based on what your business health is. So if you were looking at, filing something with the state, like that might require an additional cost. But until you're in and you do that health assessment, there's not a lot of ways that we can predict what that would be. And he can probably give a little bit more insight into what that kind of thing looks like. But it wouldn't be any additional cost within what you're doing with the chamber or the business hospital. So in total, if you are not a chamber member right now, you're looking at $2,400 to $2,600 investment over the next 365 days. And so that is the only other thing I think I had to mention. So what questions do you guys have? I'm going to stop sharing. Questions, thoughts, anything?
Good morning, Sarah. This is Tim Burrows. How are you today?
Doing great, thanks.
Hey, wonderful program last week. Appreciate you all making that happen. Quick question on the method of the engagement. Is it in person? Is it virtual? Does your location matter? If you can speak to that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hybrid. So Dr. Baker and his team are They are literally located all around the globe, really. But they do come here on site at certain times throughout the process. So it would really, I would say probably more virtual than in person, but it really depends again on your business health because they have people here in Atlanta. So it could be that you're working more closely with one of them based on, like one of their financial guys is here. He's based out of Alpharetta. So if your focus was more on your financial health, you might have more in person. But it would be a mix of both because Dr. Baker specifically is physically located out of Cincinnati. So it really just depends. I know that's not a perfect answer, but it would be both.
That was helpful. Thank you.
Yep. Somebody asked what the all-in cost to work with the business hospital without the copay. I will have to truthfully check on that. I know it's over $10,000. I think it's closer to 15, but I can find out. Any other questions?
Sarah, it's Patty.
Hey.
I'd just like to go ahead and make a comment. Several years ago, and Sarah mentioned the sustainability program, and we were very blessed to be able to go through that. Definitely was an investment in time. My mentor, if I can call her that, had homework. I had things I needed to report on. I needed to show, what my questions were, what it was that I've done, what have been eye-opening, what is it that I knew I was, maybe not using my time wisely for. But that program for us just took me to a different level, not only with just the business, but I think with the mental focus and feeling like I had a plan that I could personally go ahead and follow through with. And that's really the way that she did it. It was based on us getting to know each other, her finding out what it was were my priorities, but also questioning maybe my priorities were really not really what was best, as far as for the business. So for anyone that's never gone through a program similar to that, I wanted to share my experience. I still have all the notebook. I have all of my notes. I have everything. I get to see my mentor every once in a while, and we do a hug to see how I was doing. But anyway, I just thought maybe I'd share that for someone that's one. And it was now I don't remember a year. I think it was, Sarah, it seems like it was like a 9-month program.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more than 6 months because it couldn't, and then in this case, we only met once a month. So it's different than what, Sarah's describing. But just that once a month, having to answer to somebody other than my husband who isn't going to correct me. But it was just, it was an amazing experience. And this was several years ago when the chamber came up with that idea. And what she's describing really does take it to another level in many ways. I could tell that by going to the meeting. So I just thought it might help if I shared my experience in that particular program, and that it was definitely worth the time. It was worth the investment. It was worth what I needed to do. So that's an individual decision, but I wanted to share that.
Thank you. And Patty, that brings up a great point is like, why are we working with the business hospital versus us doing it ourselves, right? Because we did used to have a program. And I think the best answer to that is I'm a firm believer in the power of partnerships. And I don't feel that, and this is just Sarah's leadership of the chamber. We could absolutely facilitate a program internally that would have a successful impact on your business. However, I feel like it makes 150% sense in the world to partner with someone who is a true subject matter expert. Sarah's never owned a business. No one on, well, maybe one on my team, Deborah has. But that's not where the background of our chamber team comes from. Even our director of small business and entrepreneurship, that role is focused on making sure that you guys have the resources, the support, and everything you need. It is not their role to coach you through your businesses, right? So that's why we're leaning on our partnership with the business hospital is, giving you guys affordable access to a phenomenal program that can elevate your business in whatever that looks like in an even greater way than we can do within the chamber doors. So, we always say we're a place where partnerships and businesses thrive, and this program is a perfect example of that. Thank you, Patty. Any other questions?
Sarah, can you describe the extent to which we'll be able to interact? I know you mentioned that,
Yes.
but are we talking weekly? Are we talking?
Yeah.
Patty said once.
Yes, absolutely. Great question. It looks different, and I'm only laughing because I'll tell you why. So, it depends on you, right? And what that interaction looks like. Let's call it if you get a prescription to do something and you take 3 weeks to do that, that is your time frame, right? If you are contacting them repeatedly, and need response kind of more regularly, then they will lean into that. And on these business health charts, which I should have blacked out like one of the company names to show y'all, it literally, when we get those reports, and they're internal, they don't go out to the world, they are literally just for myself and our executive board, they show how many points of contact that Dr. Baker and his team have had with each person, with each patient, right? So we have one, and this is a great example. I have known this woman for 15 years since I started at the chamber. Love her to pieces. She is spaghetti on the wall with that. She has 30 different ideas and they're all great and they're all wonderful. She struggles with pinning them down and putting them into process. Dr. Baker has gotten there to be one piece of spaghetti on that wall, and she is 100% focused on that. Her reach out with him is like 80 times in the month, right? Like that's emails back and forth, and that's phone calls, and that's meetings and conversations, right? But she is super responsive, and she's leveraging that access to his care. Have others that are a little, based on, we have one and it's like he has a full-time job, but he's wanting to start a business. So his time is a little more limited, but the things that are his prescriptions are taking him a little bit longer to get. So it's not something that he can immediately turn around. So his health report was like 5 times in a month but it's just because of the work that he's doing. So to answer that, it could be anything from like constant regular communication to it being a little bit more. But I do know that they do regular check-ins with you, but it's a balance on the accountability. Like you have to be doing the things that they're expecting of you, and then they'll be there ready when you're ready to move forward. So is that helpful?
It was. Thank you.
I literally wish I should have shown y'all these reports because it's so funny. There's like it's like a very high number, and then some are a little lower, just depending on it.
It makes total sense. I mean, it depends, literally, right?
Really
so I get it.
Yeah.
My question is leaving me. I'll let you know if it comes back.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And if y'all have follow-up questions, I'll send a follow-up email with details and stuff. If you guys think of other things, I'm happy to answer those. And if I can't, I'll ask Dr. Baker. So.
Okay. It came back.
Oh,
okay.
What's up?
So I just had a question. You mentioned that you already have some businesses that are already working with the business hospital, which is great. And you mentioned that you handpicked them because of basically their diversity, if you would, of different things, so that you can make sure you can reach all your audience. So from a rubric basis, as we're looking to possibly apply for this opportunity, is it going to be based on like maybe only wanting to have a few of this, 2 of this or 2 of that? You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah, there's not really like a specific type of business that we're looking for within these. We just want to ensure that we're not doing all of the same kinds of groups of business. Does that make sense? So we've kind of checked the box, and like we've already got within those 5 the diversity that we knew we wanted. But we don't really have any specific criteria for, you need to be a service-based business that's in a certain revenue stream and all of those things. So there's not really any specific like criteria that we're scoring to make you eligible. Good question. Anybody else?
Hey, Sarah, I've got something. I was just wondering when the time frame is for selection and then execution.
Yep.
if you're accepted in the program?
Great question. So we'll be having the applications will be open, I would say through mid-February. If we don't have enough, then we'll extend it. But we do want to kind of get this pretty quick turnaround. So I would say if the applications go out now, this is what, the 27th, we'll probably put them through the middle of February, and then we'll do our selection process. But I mean, since we're only selecting 5, I envision that being pretty quick. So if it was Sarah planning out crystal ball, I would say by the beginning of March, we would be ready to kick this off. But honestly, it depends on how many applicants we get. If we only get 5, that makes it a lot easier than if we have 30 people that
Sure.
So that's kind of my headspace around the goal. Like the application will go live, I'm hoping this afternoon, and I'll send that to y'all. We'll have the deadline probably be like the middle of February, like February 12th or 13th, and then we'll go through and see what we got. And then, yeah, I think by the beginning of March, because also Dr. Baker and his team, they're like super ready to get started with our next 5. So,
Thank you.
yep, great question. Anyone else? All right, friends. Well, I apologize that this was 6 minutes past what I thought it was going to be. And again, next steps, I will send out follow-up information about the business hospital. I'll send out the link to the application. Also be on the lookout. We'll do a save the date for our next business clinic on the 15th. If you guys have any questions about membership, I'm also going to put Deborah's contact information in there. If you need to become an investor to apply, then we can do that, get that set up as well. So, all right. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay dry. Hopefully you don't have to go outside in this nastiness. And we will be in touch very soon.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.